Hello, US 101 history class. This is the uh, last week. We have the final. No more late work can come in. And I'm definitely hoping you all the best on the exam. But you'll notice that the exam is not worth that much in points. It's, you know, about the same as some of your video notes. The way that I have my class set up is that success is about being able to maintain staying in the class and keeping up with the work and basically doing the class. So um, I'm not going to encourage necessarily officially nobody to take the exam. But if you have not done the final yet and you feel that you have enough points that it's not going to affect your grade, it doesn't hurt my feelings if you don't want to take the exam. And what I'd like you to do is just write to me in the comments go into the exam final link and then just write to me and say, Mr. Pollock, I will not be taking the exam. Now, I do not answer questions for you like, can you afford to do this? Is this a good choice for you or not? What I'm saying is if you looked at the points and if you've looked at Canvas and you feel comfortable with your grade or you believe that taking the final is not going to change anything, just let me know. And that's all I'm going to do. So that's on you to figure out. I hope you understand what I'm saying when I can't go through everybody's grade book and help you figure this out. That should all that information though should be attainable through Canvas. Something important that I want to remind a lot of you is that Canvas is a graveyard of my old assignments. So sometimes there's old assignments that I have that's in the grade book that we didn't do those assignments. If you see any of those, you don't need to worry about them. You only had to do the assignments that were in each module, okay? So for each week. So just keep that in mind. And what else was I going to say? Okay, I think actually for the most part, that's it. This is very challenging to do late start classes. And if you're one of the students that just got too far behind, you're not happy with your grade, don't give up. It happens to all of us. I went to MJC for a long time, for many years. And some semesters I did great, and other times there was just challenges there. So there's no judgment on my part. And like I said, don't give up. There were some classes that I flunked, I had to retake, or just had mediocre grades. I still was able to move on and get a master's degree. So I'm not encouraging you to take lightly those things, but I'm just saying don't give up if you're having any kind of struggles to get through your work. For those of you who have been hanging in there with the class, I congratulate you on that. It's not easy to keep up with the workload, and you should pat yourself on the back for getting through all the obstacles and getting through on this one. And the last few things I want to say is just about I just want to go over the topic of history itself. I hope that you all feel that you have a more well-rounded, a more a solid idea about American history that puts a lot more players into U.S. history into context, more agency, more relevance. The indigenous population here, the Black American community that was brought here from Africa, the immigrant community, communities, just the wide range of different contexts and circumstances and people that bring us to where we're at. And this leads me to want to just say a few things in my personal politics somewhat at the end of this. So first of all, nobody is getting a grade based on whether we have the same politics. But I do feel like sometimes there's certain things that those of us in the academic profession, sometimes we have an obligation, I think, to pull back and to not impose our politics. Other times I feel like maybe, it's the opposite. So I'll just tell you a little story. So I have a mentor. There's this man that I met when I was working at a bookstore, and I was a barista in the cafe, and I was a student at MJC. And this man started to talk to me, asked me what I was reading, and he has a PhD in history, in U.S. history, and his life has been one adventure after the next. But he exposed me to a lot of different perspectives and circumstances that kind of brought me to where I'm at. He grew up in Florida in the South, and you look at him, he's a white man, and there was segregation. So we talked about being a young boy, being disturbed by segregation, seeing that, going to the department store where the drinking fountain said whites only, blacks only, and he felt the need to rebel against that. And so he would go drink from the blacks only drinking fountain, and it would create a drama with the management of the store, and they're yelling at his mom. Now, the other side of it, while he looks just white, he's also a Jewish man. Both of his parents are Jewish, and so there's also that different perspective. And close to him where he lived is a high school that doesn't have the same name anymore. They changed the name. I think it was Forrester High School. It was named after the man who created the KKK. So he's literally living by a school in Florida that's named after a Confederate, quote unquote, hero that is also the founder of the KKK. And he's a Jewish man, and there's segregation, and he sees all this as, pretty bad stuff, and he rebels. He then falls in love with a Palestinian woman, and that took him on a whole different trajectory. He went to Israel, and he went to the occupied territories in the West Bank, and he saw a lot of things that really upset him in terms of the conditions of Palestinians and how they were treated by Israel. Now, this was a story he told me probably about 26 years ago, maybe even 27 years ago. And here we are today. What is happening in Gaza is a genocide. And I think that it's as offensive to deny there being a genocide as it is to deny that there was a Holocaust. We look at the history of how Germans were not just treating the Jews, but also Roma people and others in concentration camps and these death camps, and we're puzzled and outraged. I mean, actually, just a few weeks ago, maybe very recent, there was a woman who was almost 100 who died constantly being famous or infamous in Germany, denying the existence of the Holocaust, even actually getting arrested for it, because there's actually laws on that in Germany that you can't openly deny that. And she was arrested. And so, we look at that and we're saying, oh, this is appalling. But here's the thing. The United States government is the direct funder, is the agent, the one that allows and facilitates what Israel does there and in Lebanon. And I know that a lot of you are going to talk about, or some of you who follow this, October 7th, about Hamas, about Hezbollah, about terrorism. But I don't have time to go into this, and this is a U.S. history class. This happens to be my expertise, and I can go over this in my World Civ class, my Western Civ. But having said that, I don't think that there's any atrocity that someone could commit that a political actor can commit that would justify starving and carpet bombing an entire civilization that happens to be the group from which that particular political entity exists in. In other words, there is no justification for the amount of death and destruction of children that I have watched on my phone for over a year now. And it's all on video, which is why, and you can see Israeli politicians admitting as much. Blocking of food aid, starving, targeting children, it is the most outrageous thing, and our politicians almost unanimously back Israel's actions. And then say to those who criticize this that they're being anti-Semitic. The irony for me is that it's my Jewish friends that actually are the ones that first got me aware of this. And then I have Palestinian friends who have families who are directly involved. So I think it's cowardly for anyone at this point now to not say that we have Genocide Joe, that Biden facilitated this and Trump is saying that he wants to go along for more of it. So here's my politics. I despise both parties or any group of people who ever thinks that it's okay to facilitate a genocide. And I would feel the same if it was in reverse and Palestinians doing a genocide on Jews. So it's not about favoring one group, having a sort of hatred of one and love of one versus the other. No, it's about the principle of the whole thing. And I can't go through this history and teach about all this conflicts and that genocide and ethnic cleansing that our own state has participated in. And then, also just neglect this big elephant in the room that's happening right now. So take it or leave it for whatever you want to say. But I just cannot accept not saying something about this. That's the very least I can do at this ridiculous time that I'm very ashamed of. And if anybody wants to engage with me on this, challenge me on some of these points or talk about it, feel free. Again, I don't give anybody grades based on, you ever agreeing with any of my thoughts about anything, as long as you follow the instructions and you're doing the work. What I ultimately hope that you're getting the gist of from what I'm saying is that I don't want anybody being undergoing collective punishment. And I would like us all to do well and have happy and healthy lives. I hope that the economy is going to do better. All the major economists say that a tariff war is going to crash the economy. I don't know if they're wrong. I'm more than happy with that. Strange times, very surreal, a lot of who knows what's. History is important. Pay attention. When they say it repeats itself, it always does by surprising us all the time. May you all have peace and blessings.